jet and I entertain other salespeople. I'm the head of sales for a big old company. And then the bottom falls out. See, sometimes you change your mindset because of what happens to you. And you start thinking about your stories. So many things have happened to you in your life that have set you back. Even right now, some of you got setbacks in your business that are causing you to rethink and guess who you are and what you're doing. This happened to me. In a blink of an eye, the bottom dropped out of the market. For the folks that were there and you experienced it, it was bad. And I lost everything. I lost what I thought was my identity. My identity was I was a big, huge corporate executive, and trust me, at the very top of the Fortune 500 world, it truly is like living like a rock star. There's really no other way to explain it. It was gone. It turned out when there was a great recession that they didn't need a dude that had a corner office that flew around the corporate jet that entertained salespeople and who had 2 assistants, so I had to go find something else to do. And it was a tough market. And it turned out that the only 2 things that I knew how to do were horses, I'm pretty good at horses, and selling. And since I didn't know how to make money at horses, I decided to teach people how to sell. So I went home to my wife and I sat down with her and said, listen, I'm going to start this business and I'm going to call it Sales Gravy and I'm going to teach people how to sell. And she was not happy about that. If you've ever had a conversation with your wife over a kitchen table about how you're going to take all of the money that you've ever saved and pour it into building a website and building a company. But I was able to convince her, because I'm a good salesperson, to give me a shot. And so I started getting things set up and I started working on things and building, but I had a problem. And the problem was that suddenly, for some reason or another, like this bad thing that had happened to me, those things became my chains. For some reason or another, I don't know, I just couldn't find my confidence. We were talking earlier in the back about confidence and how confidence can change you. But I couldn't find it, and in fact I was mad, I was angry, I was resentful, I was looking at all the bad things that were happening to me. I just was in a place where I couldn't find center. But I told my wife I was going to build the business, so I started building the business. Mostly I was just rearranging my desk. I built a website, and then I built a blog, and then I got on LinkedIn, and I got my business cards made, and I was just doing my best Kevin Costner imitation. I just figured if I build it, if I put my name out there, the business would come. But it didn't. And every day my wife would come home from her job, which was supporting us at the time, and ask me what I sold. Because my wife is mean. And I would make up excuses. Like I would talk, well, I had some things happening, and I called, and I did this, and I did that. And she would just cut through it. So you're telling me you didn't sell anything today? And I went, well, I'm going to tomorrow. She would come home tomorrow, same story. And it was starting to get a little embarrassing. This is my wife, by the way. I met my wife in high school. I met her on the yearbook staff. And you gotta understand my wife. My wife grew up poor. When I say the other side of the tracks, I'm talking about the other side of the tracks. We were talking about books the other day ago, and she said, well, we didn't really have any books because we were so poor we couldn't afford words. I said, well, what did you read? She said, my mom brought blank paper home from work that I could look at and color on. And I had made a promise to her mother. Her mother had immigrated from Mexico and a single mom and loved her children, and sacrificed her life for those kids. And before I could marry her, I had to go ask her mom for her hand in marriage, and her mom made me promise that I would take care of her. Promise. There we are, sitting across the kitchen table. For 20 years, I had kept that promise, and suddenly I was starting to doubt whether I was going to be able to do it. I had taken everything that we had saved, and we were savers. My wife she's our CFO at our company now. She manages money. And I'm going to tell you how well she manages money. We got married when I was 24 years old. That was the last day I ever saw a paycheck. And she's starting to push me. And I'm not moving because I'm making excuses. So one day we're sitting at the kitchen table, and she tells me this parable. She said there's this university